Hey, how are we doing, everybody? Whenever we start a YouTube channel, most of us don't start with the best equipment. We get something pretty basic. We see how we get on, whether we're any good at it, whether we like talking to camera. If things go reasonably well, or even if we just enjoy it, we start to upgrade a little bit. Most of us don't really jump from the really most basic equipment to the top studio production equipment, so we have to go up in stages. I done exactly that. I started recording on this camera here, which is the Canon T5i. Thought it was alright when I first started, but suddenly you start to pick up on tiny little flaws, like the autofocus is not that amazing. In fact, it's pretty rubbish. That's why I was using the focus card at the beginning, because I'd set the camera up looking at the focus card, then I'd have to come and sit exactly where the focus card was, because if I had it on autofocus, it would constantly hunt, it would be looking for me. You'd hear it in the sound as well, because it's a really noisy camera, and I couldn't really deviate from where that focus card was, because as soon as I did, if I moved really far back, I'd be out of focus. So that was one of the big issues with the T5i. Also, when I started as well, which wasn't all that long ago, as you'll know, I had a lapel mic. That wasn't great. That would rub on my jumper, on my shirt. I couldn't move around too much because it'd make too much noise with the lapel mic. So basically, for the fact of the autofocus of the lapel mic, I was sat rigid, just like a newsreader, and I couldn't really deviate that much on camera. So as I've got into the channel, as I've started to enjoy it, started to relax in front of camera, I've made the decision to upgrade a little bit. I did look at some really high-end cameras. I say high-end for me, these are about £1,000 for these cameras. Very good cameras, very good for vlogging, great autofocus. In the end, I've opted for the Canon 70D. It's quite old now, it's probably about 9-10 years old by this point, but it still works really, really well. It's got dual pixel autofocus, and the autofocus is absolutely seamless. It's fantastic. And it's great for this setup. It's great for vlogging to camera in my little studio, my little kitchen. It works really, really well. But I didn't just want to stop there. I didn't just want to stop at upgrading my camera equipment. I wanted the audio to get a lot better as well. So on top of the Canon 70D, I purchased a Rode Video Mic Pro, and that will hopefully take away the restrictions of the lapel mic as well. I've got some good lighting I've invested in as well, so although it's only a kitchen, most of us haven't got the money to invest in a studio, so this works really well for me. It's a well lit room, got some extra lighting to make it look great. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take away the T5i, I'm going to take away the lapel mic, I'm going to get out the new 70D, get out the new microphone, and I'm going to set that up now and see how that looks. And there we have that. Now we've got the autofocus, which should be working wherever I move. We've got the microphone that is directly in front of me. I can lean on the table a little bit, which is really nice. Before, I had to be very careful of the lapel mic, not to brush that, not to make too much noise. I couldn't move because I didn't want it to make a noise on my jumper, on my shirt. So now the mic's here, the mic's not moving. That's great, good quality mic, good quality video. Now we just need to work on the background a little bit and this lighting as well. I don't really want the lighting coming directly to me. I'd like a little bit from the side. I'd like to maybe get the back lighting a little bit better as well. So let's have a go at that. So straight away, I'm a lot happier with that. I've got a light here to the side, which works really, really well. Just to have that coming across one side of my face, keeps one side a bit dark, keeps one side a bit light, makes it a bit more cinematic, a bit more movie-like. Got a nice little backlight going on in the background. It's quite subtle, but there's some good stuff going on in the background there, and it just lights that up, and it works really, really well. So as of now, I'm really happy with this. I've got my coffee, I've got a nice mic in front of me, I've got a good camera, which I know I don't have to worry about moving. I don't even have to worry about marking on the floor where the tripod goes, because it doesn't really matter. I've got a nice wide lens, it's going to get the whole scene. I can come in, I can come out in post as well, and it works really, really well, and this is quite a nice setup. We don't have the luxury of top studios at home for the most part. Sometimes we're in our spare room, sometimes we're in our garage. We haven't always got natural light. I'm very lucky that I'm looking at an open window, which is really good, so that lights me naturally. But it does dip in and out depending on the weather. Right now there's a storm going on outside, so the lighting needs to be a little bit artificial to keep that consistency throughout the video. But moving into 2021, I am a whole lot happier with this setup. It is by no means perfect. It is by no means the best YouTube setup you're ever going to see, But for me, in a kitchen, in a little village, it's a perfect little setup that gives good quality video, good quality audio, and I can get my message across to you in what I feel is a nice, comfortable surroundings. The only thing I will say about the 70D is, as great as it is for this kind of vlogging setup, it's not so great if you want to get out and take some B-roll footage. I like to go out with my dog, I like to get some good slow-mo movies of him moving about, of him going on a walk. The camera is not really set up for that. There's no stabilization within the camera, and it won't record at 60 frames per second, meaning it's very hard to take good footage and then slow it down because it will become very grainy and very bitty. You really want to be at 60 or 120 frames per second. It's not the end of the world if you just want a camera that you're going to sit and vlog with. In my mind, it's perfect for that, unless you want to spend big bucks. I mean, this was a relatively cheap camera. I got this one second hand. I got this refurbished for around £300. Whereas the camera I was looking at, which was the Canon M50, was 800 plus. So now, as a step up from T5i, I went for this one. Maybe later in the year I'll go to the M50 or something else, but for now this is perfect for this setup. If I do want to go out, I do want to get B-roll of Oscar or anything else I'm doing, then it'll be a case of maybe taking my new iPhone, which will record 4K at 120 frames per second, so it'll get really good footage that I can slow down really well in post and give you that good slow-mo B-roll effect, which is great. But for now, this is absolutely perfect and a massive step up from the videos you would have seen on this channel in 2020. So I'm going to call it a day on this video now. This is my new setup. This is the setup that is going to roll out throughout the early part of 2021. If you like this video, please go hit that like button down below, the big thumbs up, give it a good thumbs up, give it a good like. Go and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos coming out in the next couple of weeks. And I will see you all again in that next video.